So, you want to make television news? We're going to show you how. When it comes to making television news, pictures are just as important as words. You need to think about your audience and how you're going to make your story interesting for them, whilst telling it in a fair and balanced way. As with any story, your piece needs to be planned properly. You need to think about your 5 W's: who, what, when, where and why. You also need to think about what shots you need and where you're going to put them. There's quite a bit to think about. Let's get started. So by now you should know what your story is. What are we doing in here, guys?
Schools want to ban junk food.
Okay, so you've got your story. Now, the thing to think about is your 5 W's. Who, what, when, where and why. So let's talk a bit more about what's the actual story?
Well, schools all over the country are trying to ban junk food because they say it's unhealthy for us. But they don't understand that it doesn't just affect us in school, it affects our parents and teachers as well.
Okay, so we've kind of gone through a couple of them there. You brought us on, Joanne, to why. Why is this important? Why is it important to you?
Because students get upset about not having junk food because that's like their main thing they eat.
Who are we going to interview? That's very important because that can really make your story. There's always more than one side to a story, isn't there? So we need to speak to more than one person with more than one opinion. Who do you think we need to speak to?
We can interview teachers and the headmaster and people like that.
What about when? That's also very important, isn't it? Let's think about when this story's happening.
Now.
So really we need to crack on immediately, otherwise we might miss it.
Yeah.
So filming has to take place now, so that's the when. We've talked about what and who. Where should we film the story then?
Here! Here! Oh, here! Here!
So do you think we're ready to go then? We thought about who, what, when, where and why. Let's go and film it. Okay, so you're ready to start filming. Make sure you've got your camera and your microphone, and make sure you don't leave equipment or cables lying around on the floor because you could lose them, but more importantly, people can trip and hurt themselves. Now, we're going to talk you through the shots you need to make a television report, or what we call a TV package. Now, one of the key shots you need is when the presenter talks to the camera. It's called a piece to camera, and you use it to really grab the audience's attention, so you need to choose the words you use really carefully. You'll need to write your script introducing and explaining the story. It can't be long or complicated. The most important rule is keep it simple. The next thing you need to film is your first interview. It needs to be with someone who's affected by the story, who has something to say about it and can put it across in their own words. Then you'll need to talk to a second person with a different viewpoint to provide balance. Where you place the person is also important. Put them somewhere that tells the audience more about them, like in front of a shop or in their office, for example. But be careful not to have too much going on in the background, as that can be really distracting. Now, you'll also need some other shots to separate your interviews and to really bring your report to life. Now, they may be filming your interviewees at work or doing something interesting. Be creative. Your general views, or GVs as we call them, will tell your audience more about where you are. Use them to help you tell the story. Okay, you're almost there. Now, you might want to end your report with another piece to camera to give the audience a summary of everything they've seen and heard. Think about the most important points to the story that you really want the audience to remember. Now, they don't want to hear your personal opinion, but a balanced roundup of everything that's happened and where the story will go next. And then finally, it's time for the all-important sign-off.
This is Joanne, reporting for the BBC School Report.
A celebrity chef's campaign for healthy school dinners has finally reached schools up and down the country, but there have been mixed reactions amongst pupils and their parents. We're here at a London secondary school where a junk food ban has been in place for several weeks now. Head teacher Miss Noor is here to tell us how the school diet has changed.
Well, we've been banning the vending machines and the fizzy drinks, and our dishes are starting to get much healthier, and the healthy school dinners are going on very well. The students are now not allowed to bring in crisps and chocolate anymore.
But not everyone thinks the scheme is working quite so well.
Well, before the regime started, the kids used to be so nice to us in the canteen. But now that it's started, they don't eat their lunches anymore. The kids are supposed to be eating their vegetables, but they're not, and it's being wasted and thrown into the bin. It is a waste of money because vegetables are very expensive.
There's been a lot of debate about whether this is a good idea or not, but come lunchtime and the dinner hall is still full. So how do the pupils themselves feel about it?
It's rubbish. I'm eating chocolate. I haven't been caught yet.
I love it. My favorite meal is the roasted vegetable pasta bake and my mom's pleased because I'm finally eating healthier.
I wasn't happy at first, but the food's not too bad now. I got used to it.
So far, this hasn't convinced everyone to eat healthier food, but it hasn't been in place that long. Whether they like it or not, everyone is eating healthier food from the new menu, and if the government's right, it'll be better for them in the long run. This is Joanne reporting for BBC School Report.